My name is Patty Chan from the Center for Music Innovations, and today we're going to be talking with Zech Lim from the Suzhou Chinese Orchestra. He's an erhu player and a really good friend, and it will be very interesting to hear what he has to say about his life in China. Hi, Zech.
Hi, Zach, and everyone who is seeing this video. And
Yeah,
my name is Zach, and I'm currently an Huqin player. I basically play gaohu in Suzhou Chinese Orchestra.
that's great, and
And
thank you so much for for talking with us. I think you probably have a very interesting life. Like, how did you get into playing erhu or gaohu?
erhu.
How did it all
Well,
begin?
just I've mentioned I play gaohu, and just so you all know, like basically those zhonghu player and gaohu player, they are all play erhu first, no matter what. And so my experience with erhu, how do I start playing and studying erhu is like this. I first play erhu in in my 13 years old.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. And actually, I joined a Chinese orchestra in the secondary school, and uh, the orchestra's name is Get Hua Chinese Orchestra.
And this is in
And
Malaysia, right? It's
yeah,
in
in
Malaysia.
Malaysia,
Yeah.
my the school that I studied,
Hmm.
and it's a Chinese medium school, and I initially picked 笛子 instead of erhu. We have like uh before getting in touch with any instruments, we
Hmm.
are given a form to fill in, and the form asks us about the instruments that we prefer to play
Right.
in the orchestra. And before we fill in the form, our senior will play some uh we'll do some demonstration,
Hmm.
and then we just pick the sound or the instrument, the look that we like. The
And you
instrument that we like based on sound or the look.
look.
And then
Okay.
I yeah, and I firstly chose 笛子. My
Mhm.
first choice is 笛子, and my second choice is erhu, because I thought playing 笛子 is very cool. It's because it's just one stick, and you can play a lot of notes, and it's very the sound is very penetrating,
Right, right.
and then very bright, and also it's always include in the wuxia drama,
Oh, okay.
where where some hero play the 笛子, and with the chi, the 笛子 can emit a lot of like power to uh kill the enemies.
Wow, it's a weapon.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I chose 笛子. But then my second choice is erhu, and then they put me into erhu group, and the reason was they saw my finger, and they think my finger is very long,
Oh,
so they put me into erhu. And then I just took it just not very willingly, but also not refusingly,
right.
because at that time my sister, yeah, was playing erhu in the orchestra. My
Oh,
sister studied the same school as me.
oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's fine. So I just picked the instrument that they have arranged for me.
Right.
That's how I start playing erhu.
Oh,
And then at that time, I was taught by senior. We don't have professional teacher. Because we lacked of the resource,
hmm.
the teacher resource. Yeah. So we learn amateurly everything just by uh referring to the videos, the cassette, and then we just imitate, and yeah, just play very amateurly.
This is an
Mhm.
orchestra in your school, or is it a community orchestra?
It's orchestra in the school.
In the
It's in
school.
co-curricular activity.
Oh, okay. So there's no
And
teacher
then
there.
yeah, and then our at that time, the first year I learned erhu because I joined it because it's a Chinese orchestra. It's an orchestra,
Mm-hmm.
so there is a conductor which is hired from Penang. They are kind of mm, semi professional, not
Okay.
totally professional, but semi professional. And then they are like a family business thing. They we used to call them Lim family. They all go by the surname Lim.
Oh.
And then there's one member in their family. Her name is Lim Sun Lee, and she's a professional erhu player.
Mm-hmm.
And she studied from Shanghai Conservatory of Music, same as mine.
Mm.
And then at that time, I remembered he came just once. I learned the first piece from her,
Mm-hmm.
not one to one, not one on one, but one to a group.
Right.
Yeah. The first piece is Saima,
Oh,
horse
okay.
racing.
Yes.
Yeah. I still remember she wanted us to close our eyes.
Oh.
Yeah, something like we need to hear, listen to what we play
Right.
instead of looking at the fingers.
Right.
Yeah, that's one thing. But actually, the longer I play, I still think that sometimes we really need to look at the finger sometimes because
Oh,
the
okay.
note is very high. When we play in an orchestra, there's a long rest, and then after the long rest, the next note that we're going to play is very high. At that time, we really need to see where we are going to put our finger on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, okay, back to the story. That's the first time I learned from a professional teacher, but not one on one. And then our orchestra also like join some competitions,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's national level or regional level in Malaysia. And then in the second year of learning erhu,
Mm-hmm.
I've met my first proper instructor, proper erhu teacher in
Oh.
my life. And his name is Go Suk Liang. And he's kind of famous now in Malaysia because he organized a lot of Chinese traditional instrumental music related events,
Okay.
like competitions, mostly competitions, and then performances and other gig events, maybe. How do I say? Yeah. And then that's when I have my first professional teacher. And he's also studied in Shanghai Conservatory of Music.
Mm.
Yeah. And he's a younger teacher compared to the lady, the female teacher.
Right.
Yeah. And then I participated in a competition, a regional competition, like a competition for participants in northern part of China, Malaysia, northern part of Malaysia.
Right.
And then that's the first time I joined a competition.
Mm.
And then I won the first prize.
Wow.
That's very motivating for me actually.
Yeah.
And then I at that time I started fantasizing like maybe in the future I can be put foot on table with playing erhu.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the first time that I have such thought. And
How,
then
how old were you?
15.
15.
That's fit. At that time I was 15. And then I continue participating in different competitions, but it didn't go well. I remember there were two competitions that I don't even get into the final round.
Mm.
So that's quite demotivating.
Right.
But I don't know why, but I'm not bitten by that kind of feeling. I also joined not solo competition, but the orchestra competition. Like I joined a competition. Like I play as an orchestra player. That kind of competition,
Right.
orchestras competition.
Right.
And then we have won the first prize in national level
Oh,
in 2006. That's when I was 16.
right.
Yeah. And that's very motivating also.
Yeah. Back to putting food on the table with music.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's how I get that kind of feeling. And then we in Malaysia the education system is like this. Because I studied in a government sector school,
Mhm.
so we our system like the secondary school system is not from like junior and high school. We don't arrange like that, but we arrange like one, from two, from three, from four, from 5 year.
Okay.
And then at 5 year we will sit for like a general examination. We
Mhm.
call it SPM. And then after that you can either choose to directly apply for university and then study foundation for 1 year and then continue with the your main your major course.
Right.
uh, or the other path is you can study another 2 years,
Right.
then sit for another exam called STPM. It's a even higher degree of certificate before entering a university.
Okay.
And I chose that path, the 2 years, because I was quite unsure
Mhm.
what I'm going to do in my future.
Right.
Yeah. And because all my friends, like mostly they go for engineering, they go for law, and then just a few business, mostly science related,
Right.
related because I was a science stream student. Though examination score is not so high, barely. Okay, and then that's when I was very confused of what I'm going to do in my future. So I wanted to take another 2 years to clear my mind.
Yeah.
But during the time of clearing my mind, my performance, like the school performance, curriculum performance also dropped. Like goes like and
Okay.
then and then and then that worried me a lot because that means my choices will be less and less.
Yeah,
Uh,
narrows your choices, right?
yeah. So taking the path of playing erhu is like half passion, half forced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Half
Uh-huh.
passion, half force. Okay.
Half passion, half forced. Forced by the circumstances that I don't have much choice.
Did you have a
Hmm?
passion for sciences? Like you said you're in the science in more of the
Stream.
science stream, right? Did you have a
Mm,
passion for the sciences?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Not really. I'm passionate in interesting thing like music.
Yeah.
Science is interesting, but maybe it's too hard for me to comprehend sometimes. Yeah.
Right.
Uh, and then after finishing the 2 year of the schooling, I asked my teacher, Mr. Go, Mr. Go Soliang, I want to go study erhu. So I said I want to go to China, and then he said, "You want to go Shanghai or Central Conservatory Music?" And then I said, "Which is easier?" And then
Okay.
yeah, he said, maybe Shanghai,
Mm.
because like yeah, first of all, he is more familiar with Shanghai conservatory
Right.
music. Uh, Firstly, and also he know the teacher,
Mm.
which was my teacher afterwards, Mr. Wang Yongde. He's my mentor
Mm-hmm.
in Shanghai Conservatory Music. And after decided of going to Shanghai,
Mm-hmm.
I took my first chance of taking the admission test,
Mm.
and I failed.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's an
I
audition.
go
Audition.
actually I go kind of unprepared. There are a lot of things going on actually. There were a lot of things that you have to prepare before taking the exams. At that time my quality was, yeah, very not good. And because first it's all in Chinese, although my English is not very good, but we studied music theory in English in Malaysia. We use ABRSM course.
Mm-hmm.
So I just study and read the theory textbook, and then just go for the examination. And then the first time I went to Shanghai, I met my future teacher, Mr. Wang Yongde.
Mm-hmm.
And then he told me, because I go kind of like unprepared. Then he said, okay, sorry to hear that. Maybe you can come next year if you still have passion to come to study in China. So I have 1 year doing nothing, not going to university, not going anywhere. Yeah, super depressed, super stressed. Not very depressed, but very stressed
Mm-hmm.
because most of my friends, they all go to universities and they kind of like a bright future. But me, on the contrary, is
Right.
not jobless but schoolless, like universityless.
Yeah, that's hard when all your friends have gone somewhere and you have not, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand that.
yeah. So I that time I studied a little harder. But I still think it was not enough. But somehow I managed to succeed in my second uh, test, my second
Audition.
admission
Yeah, audition.
audition. I went quite smoothly, and then I entered the Shanghai Conservatory Music.
Great.
That's how my erhu playing journey is led.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, thanks for sharing that with us because I think
Mm,
it's good to hear that, even though you did not succeed the first time, that
mm,
you figured out how to do it the second time and
mm,
you managed to get in. It's hard to share failures, actually. It's hard to share,
mm,
something that didn't work out for you. But
mm.
yeah, I appreciate that you shared that part of your journey.
Because it's already past tense, so whatever.
And you've succeeded, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least I have entered the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
Uh-huh.
I'm just curious, like in Malaysia, were there Chinese orchestras with every school, or was it
Mm,
just some schools, or like how
u-
popular was it?
usually schools with Chinese majority
Hmm.
will have Chinese orchestra.
Okay,
Uh, maybe both, maybe in large scale or small scale,
right.
they will have such group,
Oh, okay,
Chinese orchestra group. Yeah.
okay, that's good.
Yeah, so even in not only in primary school but also in secondary school and in university also.
Mm,
Mm,
okay, that's good.
mm, mm,
Yeah, you're lucky. You grew up in a place
mm,
that had a lot of Chinese music already.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So
yeah.
then, after you entered Shanghai Conservatory, how
Mm.
was life for you then?
Well, just normal classes, like the erhu classes, the SATB class, and then solfeggio. Those are compulsory.
Hmm.
And then we have a lot of other elective, like appreciating arts, something like that. And then a little bit of conducting, a little bit of composing, but that's like very, very little, right? Is if compared to professional level, is like a tip in the iceberg.
Okay.
Uh, 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 yeah.
Okay.
And then we sometimes will have some performances if our teacher arrange for us, and also the foreign student department, they will arrange performances for us to like to provide us some practical experience.
So foreign student is different from the, I guess, the domestic students, the local students.
Yeah, it's different. Like for example, there are some class that we don't have to take compared to domestic students. Like they have to take politics, and then they have to take English, but those two we don't have to take.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, of course, politics. Why do we foreigners have to learn? Like,
I don't,
it's not our business.
but I didn't know they would teach politics in music
They call
school.
it like 思政, like 思 is thought, 政 is politics.
Political thought.
Yeah, politic thought, maybe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how they translate it. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
And
yeah.
so was it a very intensive program, do you feel like? Do you feel like it was a lot of like a typical day you'd be just doing a lot of playing, practicing, or is it more theory?
Mm, how to arrange the time depends solely on you.
Hmm.
And for me, I'm kind of like I practice a little bit more than some, like many of the students, maybe because uh during my years in the conservatory, my my classmates, and they said I'm the hardworking one.
Oh, wow.
Like I practice a lot. They said I practice a lot, but I was like, really? But I don't think so, because the result was not very satisfying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, to me.
Well, that's a good
And
reputation, though, that you let people know that you practice a lot. That's good.
yeah, and usually it's not stress, not so full. Like actually, you have a lot of free time. Actually, if you don't practice.
You don't practice. So it was a 4-year program, like for the undergraduate program was 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a 4-year program, and then the master degrees program is a 3-year program.
Mm.
For bachelor's degrees, 4 year.
And what
Mm.
made you decide to continue on, like after your bachelor?
I'm not sure why. One is I'm not ready to go into the the society. Like
Okay, you want to.
I'm not ready to leave the school yet. Like mentally not ready,
Right.
and yeah, mentally not ready. And also I don't see very clear path of future.
Mm,
If because I was thinking, if I'm going back to Malaysia, what can I do with the certificate that I get?
right.
So and also at that time, the certificate was not recognized in Malaysia by the government. So
Mm,
even if I got the certificate, the value in Malaysia is not high.
okay.
That's one of the reason I want to uh, continue studying.
Right.
One is mentally not prepared, and also one more thing, because I can get a scholarship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
That's good.
because I before I decided whether to continue or not, the workers in the foreign student department, actually we call them all, like in general we call them teacher. So one of the teachers told me that you can apply for scholarship. We will give you the scholarship.
Oh.
And then, yeah, if you pass the admission exam,
Mhm.
and if it's okay, like qualified for the scholarship, we will give you the scholarship.
Mm.
And then I took the chance, and then it went well. Then I
Yay.
got the scholarship. Then
Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
And
Um,
did you enjoy
mhm.
the master's program more than the undergrad, or was it very different?
In terms of difficulty, it went high. The difficulty is higher, but in terms of strictness, it go low, lower.
Yeah, more
Like
freedom.
it's more free,
Yeah,
more freedom.
yeah. Oh, is the faculty very big? Like, is there a lot of students, a lot of or who students, or uh,
Mm,
and then how
mm,
many foreign students opposed to the domestic students?
you mean like erhu only or like the Chinese traditional instruments department?
Okay, let's do the Chinese traditional instrument department first.
Uh-huh. The number of foreign students as compared to the domestic student is super low.
Okay,
Like in my class, I was the only foreign student.
really? Wow,
Yeah,
you're
in my year.
very special.
Yeah, very special. Although, yeah.
And,
Uh,
and then how many Erhu students are there in each year, like, or
in
the
each
undergrad?
year,
In undergrad, like, are there many?
uh, around 10.
Oh, only 10.
Around 10.
And then how many master's students that's Erhu?
Less than 10.
And you're the
But
only foreign
also,
student, right?
yeah, for my batch.
Yeah.
Yeah, for my batch, I was the only Erhu student. Yeah, actually, we don't have we don't have many foreign students in the conservatory.
Hmm.
I think it's roughly 60 something studied in music. Actually, the conservatory also provides a very special course for foreigners, which is Chinese. Like
Oh,
you can go study Chinese in the conservatory before entering the school, like before taking a proper bachelor's course.
oh, right.
Yeah. Uh,
So that they can understand what they're
yeah,
what
yeah,
they're
yeah,
learning, what they're hearing, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
would you say that you had a good experience, like I guess in your Erhu studies?
Mm, yeah, quite good experience.
Yeah. And so when you
Quite good
finish,
experience.
yeah, when you finish your master's, then you thought, I'm ready to go out into the world now, right?
Actually, I wasn't very ready yet, but it's like the end of my second year of master's degree course. I saw the announcement, how to say, the advertisement from Suzhou Chinese Orchestra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's very new,
Hmm.
and the pay is quite lucrative. No, quite good. Yeah, for like because there are not not many orchestras that can pay such prices for the musicians. Yeah,
Mm.
so because it's new, like I have some impression that this orchestra will be full with graduates, and all the graduates will be like very young, and then I think the Chinese orchestra music that they will make will be very lively, very powerful, and very interesting, like very suitable for us
for
at that
for
age.
for young, yeah, for young
Yeah,
grad.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So and also in the advertisement, there's one conductor mentioned, and his name is Pang Kapang.
Hmm.
Yeah, Pang Kapang is very famous in the Chinese orchestra field.
Right.
So I've seen his video at my very young age. Like
Oh.
in my first year of joining the Chinese orchestra in Gethua, I already I've already seen his video.
Mm.
So I like the style he conduct.
Hmm.
So mm, so I think I should give it a try.
Right.
Uh-huh. And actually like I go not very prepared, but I just perform whatever I
Mhm.
could. So luckily, yeah, I was admitted into the orchestra. Yeah.
Yay! And you're ready for the real world outside of
Yeah, actually I
school.
wasn't ready because I wasn't graduated yet. So I go work there as what is that called, in internship,
All right, as an
or
intern, yeah.
what is that? Yeah. For 1 year until I graduated.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a seamless journey from school to workplace.
Right. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, how lucky I am. Oh, Amitofo.
Yeah, that's great. You didn't yeah, you were not never like really there wasn't a gap, right?
Yeah. The only gap is before entering Shanghai Conservatory Music.
Hmm.
There's 1 year gap.
And so how was like was it difficult to adjust from going to from school to working in an orchestra? Like being an orchestra musician?
Being an orchestra musician is sometimes easier because, as you can see, there are a lot of Huqin players in the orchestra,
Hmm.
and many people play the same part. And then there is sometimes you can cover my disadvantage, and I can cover your disadvantage.
Right.
That
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
uh-huh.
Okay.
So mm, yeah, sometimes it's easier. And then the most difficult part in working in Suzhou Chinese Orchestra is the conductor is very strict.
Hmm.
And sometimes when he heard, yeah,
Okay.
dissonance,
Yeah.
and then he will stop everyone, stop the practice, and then he will pick everyone to play solo. Like that part where he finds not satisfied. Yeah. And then that's the
Stressful
most
part.
stressing part. Because he evaluates you during that time. That's when he evaluates you. And then so it's highly related to whether the company will sign contract with you next year.
Wow.
Uh, yeah.
Okay.
So every time he pick us solo, then we'll be like shaking our hands like.
That's very, very stressful.
Yeah. Very stressful. And that's the most stressing part. And then the rest actually is very fun. It's very fun because you can how to say, playing in an orchestra big as this,
Hmm.
you get some satisfaction from the sound,
Right.
that whether it's our like we I'm from gaohu section, whether we gaohu section made or other sections made.
Mhm.
Sometimes we just sit there and listen
Yeah.
because we don't have to do anything. It's
Right.
not
Right.
on the score. We just rest, and then it's very enjoying. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very powerful, right? Sometimes. Yeah.
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 The conductor is very interesting. When he tries to explain a phrase or a part,
Hmm.
he will use a lot of story.
Hmm.
Some are historical, some he created,
Hmm.
some he imagines, and sometimes he will dance
Oh,
just to give us the impression of the music.
right, right.
Yeah,
Try to
yeah,
inspire you.
yeah. He's a
Yeah.
very energetic conductor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how big is your orchestra?
We have roughly hundreds, like
100.
uh like full scale with not only our members but also we have some part-time musician. Yeah, roughly 100,
Wow,
100.
that's a big orchestra.
Yeah, there's a big orchestra and we have a lot of sona. Like every time we have like around
Wow, that's
10
pretty
sonas.
loud.
Yeah, from soprano to double bass sona.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's very
yeah,
strong and powerful. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You can see from the internet. You can
Mhm.
count how many sona we have in the
Right.
concert.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm also going to put a link underneath this
Mm,
video for
mm,
people to watch your orchestra perform a piece so that they have an idea of Suzhou Chinese Orchestra.
mm,
But
mm, mm,
yeah, so how
mm.
many years have you been at Suzhou Chinese Orchestra now? Like how long has it been?
I worked there since November 2017, almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Uh,
And do you see the music or the repertoire changing, or is it pretty?
Changing in terms of symphonize. Our goal is to push the state of Chinese orchestra to be on par with the Western Symphony Orchestra.
Mm,
That's our goal. We want to be an orchestra which can not only play our piece like very Chinese piece, but also playing the Western symphony piece with transcript the
oh,
piece.
okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, like we recently we played in 2020 we played Shahrazad, and that's the so far the most challenging piece that we have encountered.
Right.
All the pieces we play were selected by the conductor, and he's also our artistic director.
Mhm.
So I think our orchestra tend to play pieces that has theme or that has melody. We don't play very contemporary piece, although we played before, but it's not the conductor's taste
Right.
unless we are forced to play like the how to say the company or some unit that has invited us wanted us to play
Mm,
something that they want
right.
us to play.
They requested a piece or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like we play upon request.
Right. Right. So
Uh.
how many concerts a year do you have?
Grand concert and medium concert all together, we play like more than 130 something last year.
Wow.
Mm.
Even through the pandemic.
Yeah, even through the pandemic, we kind of like have some kind of KPI
It's a
no
certain
matter what.
number? A certain number. Is that what it means? Key performance indicator is you should have a certain number of concerts every
Performances
year,
in a year.
performances. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There
Okay.
are some goals that we have to reach no matter
Right.
what.
Okay.
If we don't reach that goal, our salary and all of our like grants from the government or sponsors from
Oh.
the other companies will be deducted.
And
Like, mm.
do you get to go to Malaysia very often? Like go back home
uh,
very often?
usually like we have holidays,
Mm-hmm.
very focused holidays
Mm-hmm.
2 times in a year, like the summer holiday and winter holiday. So it's almost like, although I've entered a workplace, but somehow the holiday system is like the
School.
school. It's like the conservatory.
It's like you never left school.
Yeah. Somehow it
Okay.
feels kind of like still in the school.
Right.
Yeah, the winter holidays lies in like during the Chinese New Year period. During the two holidays, I will go back to China, Malaysia.
Do you see Malaysia changing as far as like the music and the Chinese orchestras there?
Yeah, it's changing. It's changing. During my time, in the secondary schools Chinese orchestra, we play pieces that are very traditional or very like the pieces is composed for Chinese orchestra. It's like exclusive piece for Chinese orchestra.
Right. Right.
But in recent years, I find that there are a lot of orchestras playing pieces that are rearranged from pop music. So I think that's the change
That's the change.
because the exclusive pieces for Chinese orchestra is not very easily promote. I think the youngsters nowadays are more they have too many things around them since the internet is
Yeah.
so well developed.
Right. They want to keep it interesting for the young people,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Attract
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that happens all over the place.
Mm,
So I think I just wanted to draw attention to that you have a Facebook page called
mm,
House of Huqin,
mm-hmm,
and I stumbled upon it a while ago, and I saw that I saw that you had transcribed or changed
mm-hmm,
music from
mm-hmm,
Jianpu to staff notation, and you had organized it to different grade levels,
mm-hmm,
and I just want to say, let our audience know that there's such a thing that exists and that it's
mm-hmm,
accessible for people to look up and try to learn reading staff notation, learn the
mm-hmm,
erhu, which I think is
mm-hmm,
great. So I want to thank you
mm-hmm.
for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I
Yeah,
will keep updating it in the future.
yeah, and it's a great site. So yeah.
Mm. Actually, I want to introduce something. There are two things. One is the orchestra gaohu. Maybe this is more interesting. Okay, this is the orchestra's gaohu. You see the shape?
Oh, yeah, it's like an erhu.
It's flat
Yeah,
octagon
yeah,
shape,
yeah. Ah,
and then the back is rounded. And actually, this is like already altered a little bit. The original one, we still have another piece of wood, heart-shaped wood.
oh, okay.
Lovely.
Yes.
I don't know why, but it was put here like when we first got the gaohu. And you see the sound difference. Actually, this gaohu, our orchestral gaohu is very loud. Is if compared to other orchestra's gaohu,
Oh,
it's
is it specially
yeah,
designed?
it's proven, huh? Sorry.
It's specially designed for your orchestra?
Mm, yes.
Oh,
You see with the love wood, the wood love shaped wood. It sounds like this, and then without the wood, it sounds like. I
oh,
don't know if you can hear the difference through the microphone or not,
yeah,
but
it
we
seems to
think that
resonate more.
it
Yeah.
resonates more without this piece of wood. So most of us we have abandoned it, but some of us still keep it installed. Uh,
Oh,
And then the wood, the bridge we use basically is wooden bridge. We seldom use the bamboo bridge.
mm.
We also use, but it depends. But we still most of us use the wooden bridge. It sounds more closer to erhu.
Oh,
Because we want the sound to be like more
so it
more
blends better together, right?
Yeah. We want the sound blend better, so we use this kind of
Oh,
wood.
very interesting.
Uh-huh,
Oh.
uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And this is the gaohu. You see the sound is quite I think it's quite clean also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then the erhu also is provided by the orchestra. We have, it looks like the normal erhu, but actually the size, if compared to normal erhu, it's bigger.
Oh,
It's also like specially designed for the orchestra.
wow.
Uh-huh. And also the sound is louder. Mm-hmm. This is the erhu. And then yeah, we have like exclusive erhu and gaohu.
Do you like how the changes that they made?
Initially, I don't like because we without tuning, not in terms of just tune to the note, but the sound also. Without tuning, it sounds first like initially it's super terrible. Like there are a lot of wolves
Oh, a lot
and
of
then a lot of sound like not even. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because it's new.
right.
Uh-huh.
Is it better now?
Maybe, but hmm?
Is it better now? Like, do you hear that it's getting better?
Yes, it's much better. For example, the gaohu, the sound will uh deplete a lot in the high position. But this gaohu, they tend to like um not suspend, but how to say, like just keep the volume.
Right. It keeps it
Yeah,
more. It's more consistent, even as
yeah,
you
more
get higher.
consistent. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's very nice gaohu we have got here.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, a lot so that's
Mm-hmm.
something like a new development.
And we still use the Python skin instead of the synthetic skin. But maybe in the future we will use synthetic skin. I think it's a trend.
Hmm.
Mm. If the quality of the synthetic skin can be as good as the snake skin, then the snake skin will be replaced.
Hmm. Right.
Mm. Yeah.
I think there are people working on that too.
Yeah.
Well, do you have
Yeah.
anything else to share with us?
Um.
Are you still as passionate about the erhu now as when you first?
Oh, actually, I'm still very passionate with the erhu.
Yeah.
Because why? Because the sound that I've made, like since I first play erhu, it's getting better and better, and even more satisfying now. I'm more satisfied to the sound that I made with the erhu, with the instruments.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. The longer you play
Uh-huh.
erhu, the more you will find that what you can do with the sound you produce, and not only what you can do, but also the sound that you produce will get better
Mm-hmm.
if you practice in a correct way. Because why I have like my passion didn't decrease with time, because actually there were some problems with my technique, like even in my school year in Shanghai, I also have some problem with my left hand technique especially. But even my mentor, my teacher didn't see it.
Mm.
And I realized that actually I realized that after entering the Suzhou Chinese Orchestra,
Oh,
yeah, I realized that from discussing with my colleagues.
oh,
Yeah, so actually, although this is a workplace, but also it's more like a school to me because I learn a lot from my colleagues.
that's good.
Actually, I learned more than in the school in this orchestra. It's it's real.
That's good, and it's great
uh,
to be surrounded by other people passionate about
mm,
their instruments
mm,
and the music.
mm,
That's great. That's
yeah,
very positive.
mm,
Okay. So, Zach, thank you for your time and sharing about your life story and your musical journey and life as a Chinese orchestral musician in China. I hope that we'll be able to have another conversation with you sometime in the future and catch up with you again. So, thanks.
yeah. Thanks, Patty.